Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. What will be the end result of the charges the SEC has brought against Ripple? I'm continuing to follow opinions from multiple lawyers that have made themselves aware and researched this topic. And I want to share with you, among other things, well, certainly opinions from, I think, 4 different lawyers in this video. And I'll be starting with a lawyer that states that in this, like, let's say that there's no settlement. Let's say that there is, court proceeding, SEC against Ripple. Let's say it actually makes it to that point in time. Well, there's a lawyer that says XRP absolutely cannot, from a legal perspective, be declared a security. And it was an interesting position, so I wanted to highlight that for you, among other things here. But I do want to be clear, like, I'm not a lawyer. I do not have a law background of any kind. I'm also not a financial advisor, and so you should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I am not offering financial advice. I'm an enthusiast. That's it. I just think it's fun to, as a hobby, make YouTube videos on this topic and all sorts of stuff, XRP and crypto related, because I genuinely find it interesting, and I am an XRP holder, so it's even more interesting when you got skin in the game, but it is what it is. And then the question becomes, what if, and this is actually possible, what if Ripple, what if it's found through court proceedings that Ripple can no longer sell XRP? I've seen members of the XRP community realizing that's a possibility and getting excited about it. Oh, a reduction in the supply. And I say, no, not so fast. It would be potentially catastrophic if that happened for XRP holders, and I will articulate my reasons why I believe that in this video. Not that it's necessarily going to happen or that it's likely, so I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm just going to give you I'm forthright on this channel. I'm going to give you my honest opinion, and I don't know that it will happen. I don't know that it's likely. I suspect it's not likely, but it would be bad. Before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap the like button, I would appreciate the support. And also, if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, you done came to the right spot, son. Go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambeau channel. Take my free content, damn it. All right, so who was I talking about at the outset here? Jeremy Hogan, attorney, and he's the individual, put out a video just a couple days or so ago. And it's been interesting. He's not an XRP holder. He mentioned in a previous video that he does hold Ethereum, but that he actually is considering holding XRP based on, potentially based on what would the implications be if once, let's say there's court proceedings, it's all done, and then Ripple can't sell XRP. And he said if he hears an answer that he likes, then he might go buy XRP. Well, he might not like my answer then, to be perfectly honest with you. But again, this is why, like, I'd love to hear more from him, because I want to know, is it likely that Ripple ever end up in a position where they can't sell their XRP holding? That's what I want to know. So he could maybe help me understand that, and maybe I could help him understand a little bit more about why it's very bad if we get to that position as XRP holders anyway. But here's what he stated in the later part of this particular video that he put out, which is on your screen right now, and I encourage you to check him out. It's a really entertaining channel, and especially he's put out recently, I think, 3 videos on the whole Ripple and XRP SEC debacle here. And so this one he titled, "Lawyer Discusses the Likely Results of SEC versus Ripple and Its Effects on XRP and Other XRP Coin Issues." So I just subscribed to him because it's fascinating. It's just awesome hearing actual lawyers' takes on all of this. And so what he stated was he went to, did I have it pulled up here? I may have, yeah, here we go. Here's the actual complaint. This is what he pulled up on the screen. And I've read this whole thing too, but I'm not a lawyer, so I wouldn't catch the type of stuff that he could catch here. And so he read it the first time, then he read it a second time, the prayer for relief. And so basically, my understanding is the prayer for relief, it's just a weird lawyery way of wording. What are we asking for? So we're the SEC bringing charges against Ripple. What are we asking for? And so this is what Jeremy highlighted here. And so you can see under Roman numeral 1, effectively what they're stating here is that they want Ripple to be able to sell XRP. You can see Roman numeral number 2, ordering ill-gotten gains, if indeed they are found to be ill-gotten, to be returned to those who purchase them. And those are a couple of the largest requests here, if this were to go in favor of the SEC. But he noticed something the second time that he read this. He didn't catch it the first time, but it just struck him. He said, wait a minute, under federal law, the SEC could have requested a declaratory judgment, making the status of XRP effectively, if they win, a security, and it's not in here. It's an omission that means that it cannot be declared a security, not as a result of this court case if it goes to trial. It's an if it goes to trial thing, because the judge can't grant something that isn't requested. From a legal perspective, under federal law, that's what Jeremy Hogan has stated. And I thought, oh, well, that's fascinating. I'll just take his word for it. I mean, if he's right, that means no matter what, XRP will not be declared a security under this. But it doesn't mean that some horrendous things couldn't happen. And so this is where I can kind of start to fill in the gaps. And you know what? I'll just do that now. So what would happen? What would the fallout be if XRP were to be declared a security? I'm going to pull up a Twitter thread. And there is an individual named Crypto Man that tagged me along with a couple of my fellow XRP YouTubers. And so thank you very much. Shout out to you. I do appreciate you tagging me. And we ended up having a thoughtful back and forth. Now, I do want to be clear. I'm always careful about this. See, when humans hear opinions that are different than their own, it's not uncommon for them to feel like they're being personally attacked. I'm never coming at it from that angle. I always appreciate diversity of thought and genuine, thoughtful discourse. And so that's where I'm coming from. So I'm sharing my opinion. It happened to have been different than Crypto Man's, but that's okay. That's fine. I don't require or expect everyone to agree with me for us to be friends. That's just not where I'm coming from. And on the flip side, maybe flip side isn't the right way to word it, but additionally, I don't want somebody to feel like they're being attacked. I would never do that. And so that's why, again, I say thank you, Crypto Man, if you're watching, for engaging in this conversation with me. I really do appreciate it. And so Crypto Man wrote the following. Guys, I just realized if the SEC News wins the lawsuit, that's at SEC_news, that's the Twitter handle. So he means if the SEC wins the lawsuit, the XRP price will moon. The SEC claim is not to declare XRP a security, it's to prevent them from selling XRP. Either outcome, this is bullish. Win or lose, going to the moon. And again, he tagged me along with Kevin Cage and the digital asset investor. And that struck me immediately as not the case. And so here's what I wrote. Preventing Ripple from selling XRP could be catastrophic for their business model, even solely from a perspective of liquidity management. If this were to happen, I don't know that it would be good for the price action and long-term viability of XRP. And I may have mentioned it later in the thread. I'm going to go through the whole thread. It's not that long, frankly. But they issued line of credit recently. For their customers. That's what they call the actual product, a line of credit. A line of credit is a thing for businesses, but they call the product line of credit, and it helps manage liquidity. And honestly, I'm not even convinced that they could use that anymore. I need a lawyer to tell me what the implications are, but if they can't sell XRP, it's a loan, but could they even do that? That's bad. If the answer is no, that's pretty bad. But Crypto Man responded to me and wrote, Ripple has investors, and outside of its escrow amount, it's a $10 billion company. Its software RippleNet can be utilized by banks who can buy XRP on the open market, thereby increasing demand from repressed supply. I can't say I agree with your assessment. Looks bullish to me. And again, that's perfectly fine. He doesn't have to agree with me, and I don't think less of people if they have a different opinion than me. I'm not like that. That's Neanderthal thinking. So I just want to be clear. That's not where I'm coming from. I enjoyed this conversation. And so I responded with the following. You're talking about Ripple losing its primary source of funding and ability to support other developers building on top of the XRP ledger through RippleX. If that happens, it's bad. I'm not in favor of this, but from a legal perspective, don't know what it is. And so, of course, RippleX is the development arm of Ripple, formerly known as Spring. And as a result of what they're doing, you can think about the amount of support that they put behind, for instance, Coil, which is coming up with it's actually active today, a new form of web monetization so that you don't need, in order to access web content, there's a third option, because there were two options for payment on the internet before this. Two. It was to, you can have a paywall or you can have advertisers. And so now there's a third option that's available thanks to a blend of interledger protocol technology and XRP, because you can settle XRP, which is blazing fast. Both of these are required for this to happen, right? And so what happens is money gets streamed in real time. to content creators. So it doesn't go to an advertiser. There is no paywall. You can get, so whether you're a blogger or a YouTube or whatever it may be, you can actually get streamed money in real time. And that's live today. That's a use case today, right? And so stuff like that wouldn't exist. And that, mind you, Coil, that's a different company. That's not Ripple at all. And then you think about what's going on with other investments. I mean, they've put a ton of money into other entities building on top of the XRP ledger, such as XRP Labs. And you think about Forte. There's all sorts of stuff. There's gaming opportunities with Forte. And so it goes on and on and on. And Ripple would not be able to do any of that to build out a healthy XRP ecosystem if XRP cannot be sold. Anyway, here's my next comment. As far as the way you're looking at the supply-demand dynamics, I feel differently. Yes, you can argue there would be a psychological effect on the market of XRP being more scarce, but of substantial more importance is how much XRP is liquid on exchanges at any moment. So, if Ripple's XRP holdings evaporated magically this second, there is still the same amount of XRP trading on exchanges. No change in supply and demand whatsoever. Additionally, Ripple's new line of credit product, I did mention, okay, so line of credit product would also likely not be allowed, which builds on-demand liquidity corridors. All right, and so I hope I was clear in what I'm stating right there. As far as the supply and demand dynamics, nothing immediately changes if that happens. You know, I think once the scary news would hit, if anything, it could potentially cause a price decrease, which is why, again, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I don't believe that it's likely this is what's going to happen based on what I've heard from lawyers, but I'm not a lawyer and I don't know, and I don't have a crystal ball that works. I have a crystal ball, but it's broken AF, so it's really not going to help us here. I then wrote the following. It's the same with Bitcoin. 21 million max supply, 18.5 million mined, but only 1.8 million, roughly, Bitcoin. 1.8 million Bitcoin available on exchanges for purchase today. So think about that. What does that mean? People are not buying and selling as if there were 21 million Bitcoin for sale at this exact second. They're fighting over what is for sale. 1.8 million, roughly, is for sale today. That's it. And so that's why I hope I'm clear on this. If the other 50+% of XRP held by Ripple were gone, it doesn't change what is available on exchange. It would not move the price in that sense. The news of this type of thing happening would move the price. Whether you think it's bad or good, you make your own decision on that. I think it would be horrendous, especially once people realize the implications of all of this. And Cryptoman responded to me and wrote, I hear all of your positions. However, I can't see how a suppressed supply, maybe he meant suppressed. Yeah, that's what he meant. He meant suppressed supply of the asset in the U.S. isn't bullish for other countries, which get to transact in the remaining half, and the same products can be transacted with in those other countries with lower supply. Yeah, except for if you're talking about the adoption of XRP as a bridge currency, this could be devastating to Ripple. You know, this is a non-starter for Ripple, in my opinion. I don't think that they would ever agree to a settlement that puts them in a position where they can't sell XRP. The business model in the short term, it would, just from a liquidity, forget the profits, from a liquidity management perspective, Galgatron, XRP community member Galgatron was the first to state, and accurately, I believe, that, Ripple is a benevolent whale. With whale meaning they're just a large holder of XRP. So they're a whale in that sense, but they're benevolent here. And you're taking away the ability to make sure that liquidity is where it needs to be. In addition to that, you're taking away their primary funding mechanism. And so, I was aware of this from the beginning. Ripple's been very transparent about XRP as a primary funding mechanism from the beginning. And so I was always cool with that. I didn't have a problem. I thought it was neat that even though XRP itself is decentralized, that there is an entity out there that is being responsible. And I don't have major trust issues. Like if Ripple, the company, were to act in a way that were not long-term beneficial for XRP, I'd notice that. I'd talk about it even here on the channel, and it might change my idea of whether or not I actually want to hold XRP. But as long as you're being a responsible steward, let them profit so that they can do all this amazing stuff and invest through Ripple X. The development arm of Ripple, like all of that. And it's just going to go away. And they are funding operations through this, but that's not earth-shattering news. We've known that for years and years and years and years, and nothing has changed. Either you have a problem with that or you don't, and I don't have a problem with that. If you do, then maybe just don't buy XRP. Okay, cool, not a problem. But it is a problem if that funding magically goes away. you can't. You're talking about a substantial change on the cash flow position. Like it's just, it'd be, from a business perspective, just, I think, likely devastating. And so again, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I don't think it's likely to happen. I based on what I've heard to this point anyway. But no, it would be bad. And so my final tweet here was, or I guess there are two more technically, in response to Crypto Man. If it crushes Ripple, the company, then XRP is in trouble. And again, in the short term, there would be no change in supply on exchanges. Over a span of perhaps decades, yes, your supply argument makes sense. In the short term, what matters is what is available on the market today. And so what I meant by that, over a span of decades, is a few years back, Ripple put out, well, they have a running blog, but one of their entries in the Ripple Insights blog series, I think it was May of 2017. And they released, and I don't know if they've amended it or updated it since then, I haven't seen anything, but they released their, I think it was roughly like a 30-year release plan for XRP. And so as more XRP enters the wild, yeah, of course that affects supply and demand. That does. But if, that assumes that, that there'd be growth of the entire crypto asset class, more investors coming in to purchase this and that. So it's not that there's going to be some intense, very bad supply shock, and they're only selling historically XRP based on a percentage of the daily volume, right? And so it's nothing that's going to ever crush the price anyway. They're being, again, responsible here. And so if you're talking about that going away, and that you still have the same supply demand the next day, like I said, it doesn't matter. If you increase Ripple's holdings that get that out into the wild, which will happen over time, that is a fair argument. I'm just stating that could happen over a span of years and decades. So, and it's never going to be a supply shock unless they start to act in a way, this benevolent whale Ripple, that is not responsible, which I haven't seen them do. They're the largest stakeholder in XRP, and they have every incentive in the world to maintain a healthy XRP ecosystem, and dumping on the market will not meet that goal. So I personally just don't have that fear. That's my humble opinion. You do not have to agree with me. And then I also wrote, I really don't want Ripple to lose the ability to sell their XRP. There would be many consequences. So there were a couple more. Sorry, I thought it was over. Crypto Man then wrote, I don't want that either. I believe they will settle, and we will all be very rich when the price appreciates. To which I responded, based on what I hear from every lawyer that speaks on this topic, it does seem likely that Ripple will find a way to settle with the SEC. I'm optimistic, but no way to know for sure what will happen, which is why I always acknowledge that it's riskier to hold XRP today than it was before all of this came out. But I'm standing firm on my position, and I'm not wavering in my conviction on this. I don't know what would change my mind, but I'm here to stay. I'm going to keep running this Moon Lambo channel with a silly ass name. All right, a couple more things, and I probably better wrap this up here because the video is going longer than I intended already. I can tell, but I never look, when I start recording, I never know how long the videos are going to go. I kind of somewhat have an idea, since I've been doing it long enough, how long it's going to take me to get through stuff, but the videos just, they need to be however long they need to be. So I guess that's that. Here's attorney John Deaton. He's the one that filed the writ of mandamus, requesting that the SEC ultimately be compelled to amend their complaint against Ripple to remove the language about XRP being a security. Oh, and by the way, I should mention this too. So, and John had brought this up in another tweet. It's like, they can still argue that XRP, like the SEC can argue that XRP is a security. They can certainly do that. But when we're talking about a declaratory judgment, according to Jeremy, lawyer Jeremy Hogan, he states that still, you in this particular court proceeding, if it gets that far even, the judge can't rule on something that wasn't ever requested. So even if they make the case and they verbally state in court XRP is a security today, there's no declaratory judgment that can be made according to attorney Jeremy Hogan, which I found interesting. Anyway, glad I didn't forget that. I did want to mention that. All right. So anyway, attorney John Deaton, though, wrote the following. After listening to the webinar, it is clear that everyone agrees that Hester Pierce's safe harbor proposal should be adopted, which gives companies 3 to 5 years safe harbor from being prosecuted for selling unregistered securities. This gives innovators adequate time to allow for a token to become properly decentralized. She said that we still don't know what crypto will become. She agrees the SEC has taken too long for clarity, and that Asia, the UK, and Switzerland are ahead of the United States. She said she was optimistic, but I wasn't convinced she was. And this is something I brought up a couple videos or so ago, this idea, and it's not something that's been implemented, and so, even if it came to be, it's, the ship has sailed. It's not going to help Ripple at this point, but in theory, it could have, if this had passed, it could have provided protection for Ripple, but it's not there. But it just, see, the reason that makes sense, this safe harbor thing, it's because there's an understanding, even within the SEC, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, that cryptocurrencies can go from being centralized to decentralized and vice versa, and you need to be able to account for that. And right now, I don't really so much see that happening, right? Oh yeah, here's another one. Okay, so here's a tweet from XRP Life. I have a question, John Deaton, attorney John Deaton. If you have time, does it matter one way or another that Ripple was gifted XRP and didn't actually create it? And this is something that I've been saying because this is not a hype channel. I've just been forthright about this, and John Deaton clearly shares my opinion. He wrote, there are situations where gifting the asset may make a difference, but in this case, although XRP was created before Ripple, the same individuals that created XRP were involved in forming and running what became Ripple. This isn't a strong argument for Ripple, in my opinion. Good question. I've been saying that for years. It's good to hear it from an attorney, because the point that I made is, okay, if that's an appropriate loophole, then in order to not sell a registered security, if you're doing an ICO, create the cryptocurrency, then form the company, then gift it to yourself. And so I've been saying that for years. I was like, now that's not an argument for XRP being a security. You know me, I don't think it is at all. But it's not, I'm just saying that, and John agrees here, it's not a good argument, right? So I'm just being real with you. Okay, from the Daily Hodl, top crypto lawyer says new SEC chief will boost Bitcoin, but XRP is another story. And they're basically talking about this thread here on Twitter. There's a video clip highlighted here with Gary Gensler. He's going to be the new SEC chairman, replacing Jay Clayton. And there's a video from a few years ago in which he referenced XRP as a, quote, currency. But he did make it clear also that it was for the sake of that particular conversation. And so he wrote, yeah, here we go. He wrote, Jake Chervinsky, he's another attorney here, wrote, casual use of the word currency does not in any way signify an exemption from the federal securities laws. As FinCEN has stated, virtual currencies can also be securities. Only currencies with legal tender status are exempt. I really don't understand the obsession with this word. Well, to be clear, Jake, it's just because people that are not lawyers, and I'm not a lawyer, don't understand the implications, if any, of using a word like that, calling it a currency. They don't understand that doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be something else. So I understand why people are bringing it up. To me, it's pretty clear, frankly. Then attorney Jesse Hines responded and wrote, yeah, but I think the important thing to note is that he understands the possible utility. Opinions can change. And that's certainly true. And I highlighted this in a previous video that Gary, he has a very good understanding, frankly, of the utility of utilizing XRP as a bridge currency. He's talked about it. He said that XRapid, which is now known as on-demand liquidity, he said XRapid was, quote, clever. He gets it. He understands that there's utility here. And in his perspective, that doesn't change whether or not it's a security, but he thinks that it's clever. And he was citing the benefits of utilizing the cryptocurrency, XRP, as a bridge currency in this video. And also these statements, I'm not going to get into this video. I covered it extensively over the last few days, but he in 2018 said, yes, he believes XRP is a security of Ripple. And the thing about that, and again, I don't really want to get too far off track here. The video is long enough, but opinions can change, and XRP itself and the XRP ledger can and have changed, and these are all factors to consider here. I think it's important, the devil's always in the details. So anyway, to wrap this up, if Jeremy Hogan is indeed correct, XRP cannot be declared a security, even if there's a court proceeding rather than a settlement. But still, the question is, what's going to happen? Like, would there perhaps be a new regulatory compliant way in which Ripple could sell XRP? That would be my hope. So maybe they couldn't do it exactly the way they're doing it now, but there is a way still for them to manage liquidity and use their asset they own, XRP, as a funding mechanism. I would prefer for that to be the case. I just don't know what's likely because I'm not a lawyer. So somebody out there that's a lawyer, you tell me that part. I've not a clue. But I'll wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.